Computer. Lights.
Good morning, everybody, and happy Friday. And it looks like I will have people here, but not until later. Yeah, well, Pepper's on his way home, he said. So, whatever. And then Colton did the I just woke up. So, I guess I will draw for a while until Pepper and Colton show up or whatever, whoever shows up. But it's good to see you, Brent. Always good to see you. So, we need music. Right? College kids these days. Lazy bums. If he wanted to get work done, he could have done that, but he didn't. And so he didn't. Or something. Okay. So we have a weird sort of thing going on with Earth Tau. So I'm working on Earth Tau here. So we'll go ahead and move to Earth Tau. So we've been working on Dreadnought, and I think really legitimately, Earth Tau doesn't want me using maquettes anymore, and that's not a problem. I just didn't get the memo. So I'm going to stop using maquettes and just keep working on this piece and work it and just get over my insecurities, because I've got a lot of insecurities that involve not using the maquettes. And really, honestly, I am totally capable of doing the thing. I just don't think I can. And so it becomes sort of a thing. Oh, yeah. Get that working. I I try really hard in my life to not get tied down by my own insecurities and fears, because of course that doesn't help you any at all. But, I'm a human being, and regardless, somewhere along the line, it's going to end up getting me. And I know that. And that's fine. So we'll just go on ahead and work this piece. They're happy with it as it was. So we're going to work it as it is and just roll with it. And that's fine. That is totally fine. Um, so we will do that and put this together here, and we will make this work, and all will be good. I really shouldn't do that. I really don't. I really shouldn't do this because I'm smooshing it down. But the problem is, I've already put a lot of white and black into this. I hate whenever I do stupid stuff. Oh well, we'll worry about that later, I guess. Nice. Speaking of stupid stuff, um, I wonder what would happen if I put something else down here. Let's try this. I want to try something out here. Like, if I were to make this a multiply and make this a multiply, what do we get? That's not bad. Trying to decide how badly did I mess up my universe here by doing all of this work inside here on the gold line side. And I think really what I need to do is just undo it. Go back down to the main line and fix it there. Because legitimately, the gold is much more useful on its own layer. So we will go fix. And besides, once this is separated out from its other layer, it's actually going to be a whole lot easier to mess with this. So let's do that. All right. Now we're on that layer, and then what we'll do is fix. So yeah, like I said, they really want me to stay with this drawing, which is uncomfortable for me, but I'll make it work, right? I know I can operate just fine without maquettes. The only real reason I use maquettes is because I get hung up on it, and when I get hung up on it, it messes with my thought processes here. I mean, I just totally get all kind of caught up on this. So we'll fix it. We'll make it work. Hey, Pepper finally showed up. There's Pepper. Hey, Pepper.
Sorry, my husband wanted some food after I did a quick mail delivery this morning.
Yeah, well, that's a thing.
I'm not gonna lie, I wanted food too. I've been up. Hey, Brent, I've been up since like 4:30 this morning.
Me too.
So
Me too.
we were probably not doing the same things because I was trying to basically move stuff to be more conducive for my house.
No, I was obsessing.
Oh, on?
I've been thinking about the problems I was having with Earth Tau, and I think it all boils down to my insecurity by using maquettes. I'm very insecure about the fact that I use maquettes for my artwork because I feel like I should be able to do perspective just fine on the first run out. And the truth is, I actually can do just fine with perspective. I just don't, and I don't believe it, and it's part of my stupid imposter syndrome thing. Stupid. So I don't have a problem with it, but apparently I have a problem with it. So there's that.
Well, I mean, everyone has imposter syndrome.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I've never met a person who's never had it, and if they do say they've never had it,
They're lying.
I usually call BS on it.
Yeah. But my imposter syndrome has a horrible habit of telling me that that I'm not doing it right. And paralyzing me. And part of the reason I use the maquettes is just so that it'll shut up, you know? Just because
Yeah.
It's loud and it's obnoxious, and I've got work to do, and I've got better things to do than to listen to my imposter syndrome tell me that I'm an idiot and I can't draw. So it's not really that I don't even have like a problem with the actual
Uh-huh.
drawing. I can actually do just fine without maquettes, but I
Mhm.
have to fuss with it a lot more because I have to fight me. So really the truth is I've just been thinking about it and I'm like, you know what? If they want the sketch, I'll just go traditional like you. There's no reason not to. Only reason I go maquettes is because it's faster for me, but that doesn't mean
Yeah.
it's faster for everybody. And they need a check-in at every step.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a thing they require. It's just part of what the client requires, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not. I mean, the only time it becomes a super big problem is when they don't allow you to. Uh, let me clarify this. It only becomes a problem when a client doesn't want to change the artist on something clearly the artist is struggling to actually comprehend that they want.
Yeah.
And they keep giving them feedback after feedback of what they want, and what the artist interprets is something completely different.
Well, and I've been having that problem too, and I think it's frustrating the Earth Tau crew, but I need them to just relax. I'm not intentionally trying to mess stuff up.
No, I mean, it happens, I think, at least once in every art type, or not even art, just creative field in general.
Yeah.
It's not something that I really enjoy.
No,
Trust.
it's part of the process that's not any fun.
Well,
So I'm just going to go through and clean up the lines because the lines suck because this was a sketch.
hmm, well,
And we'll roll with it and we'll be good.
so
So
yeah, that works.
that's my thought too. We'll roll with it. It'll be fine. All will be good. We'll go completely traditional with these guys and just stay there. And
Hmm.
that's not a problem. And I will tell my imposter syndrome to just jump off a freaking cliff because I'm tired of it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm doing better pieces with or without the imposter syndrome thing, or with or without maquettes. Hello, you've screwed up.
I would just I would just test yourself one day.
I do. I I mean, it actually was better back in the day because I was fighting. I was doing this website that was called Pummel,
Hmm.
and it was it was set up kind of like a boxing ring. So it was a forum, and so it was just a normal forum. And what would happen is uh, everybody would sign in at the beginning of the month, and you'd get paired up on a ladder depending on what your rank was. And your rank was originally decided. You know what
Uh-huh.
you'd show them your work, and they would say you're a middleweight, or you're a lightweight, or you're a heavyweight. Depending on your skill level. And it was voted on by everybody on the site as to what class you belonged to, and I ended up being a middleweight. Um, but after and the rule that I had made myself was I would never cheat and use maquettes for Pummel.
Hmm.
And so all of the pieces that I ever did for Pummel were always straight up drawn traditionally. Generally, the pencils were done on Bristol board at my desk, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
um, so that I could make sure that I was still doing things correctly. But they also took all month to do one page. So, you know, it took all month for me to finish one page. So I was putting in 40 or 50 hours to get one page. That's too slow.
Yeah.
And what I was saying in my message back to Earth Tao was, I mean, I think part of the reason that we've ever had a conflict is because my normal workflow is I sit there and daz and pose something. That looks good. And then I just screenshot that and then trace it with pen. And so I've gone straight from 0 to ink. So, by workflow, there's no concept sketch. There's no rough sketch. There's no, there's no pencils. There's no blue line. All of that's gone in my normal workflow. I go literally from a render straight to ink,
Yeah.
And so I skip a whole bunch of stuff, which is what they're very frustrated with, I think. Because I feel like they're frustrated because they want to see the concept. They want to see level 1. They want to see level 2. They want to see so that they can make corrections, which actually I do not fault them for at all.
Yeah.
They want to see corrections along the way. They want to be able to say, hey, I don't like this person having 4 arms or whatever.
My response is, why did you describe 4 arms?
Right? What was my problem? So
That's got up to do something besides doing that.
wow. Bing. That was a serious bing we just had there.
That would be a text message coming in through my computer.
It was a pretty serious text message then.
Oh no, that's the normal sound.
Well, it thinks it's a serious text message then.
Yes, it does. It does. Well, it was from Bill.
So there you go. It is an important text message.
Yes.
Messages from Bill.
This time they come through text.
Right.
And you want to know what it said, everyone? Sure.
I like it.
It said sure.
There you go.
Yeah. Messages from Bill. Yeah.
Hey, we love Bill. It's all good.
Everyone, I still think that I need to put up the gate and I'll leave the door open. But then every single time that I do a show, I have to remind myself now he's out there and he probably wants to watch something else other than hearing us talk about art and Star Trek and Star Wars. And
he should probably just have the always open welcome to show up when he feels like it.
Yeah. I'll let him know right now.
Join us if you ever feel like it. Boy, I was hanging out on the wrong layer at one point in time here. Not doing any good.
Have you ever done one of those one layer art challenges?
No.
Working on one layer.
I kind of do it by accident.
Yeah.
Routinely.
He hasn't
been able to say layer check in a while.
Well, I mean, I've done it. I did it when a long time ago. I should probably try doing it again.
Might be fun.
Yeah. So did you so this is the third sketch I think I've seen of this character.
It's actually still, it's the very, very, very first sketch. So I made the sketch, then I made, and it's still in here, I made a maquette version of the same sketch. Hang on, my mouse is screwed up. So I made a maquette version of the same sketch, then ran the trace on it, and when I did, the response was very negative. So they didn't want the trace. They wanted the original sketch. So I went back and I went back to the original concept and just fixed the anatomy, because there's like some screwed up anatomy in here, but then they didn't want that either. So I'm now reverting all the way back to the original one, leaving the screwed up anatomy. They seem to be pretty happy with that, so I'm going to leave it. It's not my drawing, so it's total. I mean, it's not my end result, is not mine, so I'm okay with that. They can do whatever they need to. It's totally cool.
Really? That's all right. That's right. I think the one problem that a lot of people have with me when I do images with females is the fact that they have I don't draw big, busty female bosoms.
Yeah, it's not the anatomy I'm having a problem with, but that's, yeah. The anatomy I'm having a problem with is this eye is bigger than this eye, and her face is off kilter. So
it's your drawing, just not your released art.
Yep. It's all good, man. Like I said, they can have it however they want it. I'm okay. I mean, it's on them. I don't have to worry about it. I'm stressed out because I get stressed out because I'm worried that somewhere they will go, gosh, her eyes aren't level. And I'm like, well, yeah, I tried to fix that. You know, that's really what I'm most worried about, I think. And it's,
you know what the thing is it's one of those things of it's not something that they'll get until probably the coloring stage.
Right.
Happened to me before where I've gotten the flats done and they're like, oh yeah, we need this done. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to fine. You know, we do whatever we need to do here. It's all good.
Yeah.
They did recommend bustiness for her, so I'll make her busty. Not something I normally do, but hey, you know what? Again, not my. It's totally fine. That's the thing. There's a lot of stress going on. I think that's kind of silly because we don't need to be stressed out here. It's we're good.
Yeah. No, I mean it boils down to like basically it just these characters are being thought up by someone else and
yep.
You have to kind of just roll with it. That's all.
Oh yeah, that's all good. I got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of us have had to do two characters on one card before for Earth Cow.
Yep.
And I think I did a card with Triceratops in the back, like in the foreground, in front of the character I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Now that is a very interesting and very difficult, technically difficult character to draw.
Agreed.
Especially from behind. Like because I had to draw the behind shot, like of Triceratops.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a little bit different than the front side, because the front side is even more technically difficult. Because it's Triceratops. It's a Triceratops humanoid.
Well, that's my assumption too, Brent, is that they just like the eyes that way. Which that's fine by me. And that's sort of what I got too, was they just want it that way. You know what? Cool. I'm good.
Yeah.
So I will fix the problems they were looking for, and we will get this approved and moved to the next step. And then I will try very hard not to look at the screwed up anatomy. So that's what we're going to do. It's kind of a interesting and cool logo that they've got for this Matsushita Heavy Industries thing. There we go. Some of these things I feel like I'm just doubling down on already bad. Yep. So it's all good. Okay. So what other things do you have to do this week? My good
Well,
man.
tomorrow I'm doing a sketch off from remotely. One of the people some of the people that I work with are going to be involved in this art event, and a lot of people had the assumption I was going to be there because I was doing other things with companies that are going to be there, and I was like, I'm not going to be in Texas this weekend. I have things to do at my house. And I can't go. I didn't do enough proper timing for it. And so I'm passing up. It's an event called Collecticon, and there's a separate company that printed out a bunch of art cards for me. And they're going to be auctioning those off throughout the event, and I get proceeds from that. And they're doing a sketch off, so I'm joining them for one of the rounds of sketch off, and it's like a half an hour event, and I do it through Instagram.
That actually sounds horribly intriguing.
Horribly intriguing?
Horribly. Well, it is October, so everything's sort of horrible at this point in time.
True. I think I've watched Hocus Pocus like 6 times already, so
now you're running amok.
And I'm trying to find my lucky rat's tail too.
Mm-hmm.
But like right now, I'm just like trying to get back into a groove, but my mind is divided. Like I finished all the sketch cards that I had. Well, you're lucky, Brent. You're lucky. I've also watched Halloween Town. And Addams Family Values.
It's funny. I absolutely love the trappings of Halloween, but I really don't like horror movies.
Well, I mean, the movies I'm talking about aren't horror movies. They're family.
No. But I mean, like, that's becoming sort of the classic thing to do in Halloween is watch horror movies. And I was just realizing I really like the trappings of Halloween, but I'm not fond necessarily of the movies. But yeah, Hocus Pocus and stuff like that. That's not a horror flick.
Oh, well, yeah. Good luck on the R2D2 dome, Brent.
Right? That's gonna be cool.
Yeah. So essentially, there's that. I need to get like some type of writing done. I got yesterday. I had a 4-panel, and I posted it online already, so everyone can see it if you're following me on my social media. Basically, I did 4 seasons, and I did a character in each season for someone, based off of a house in Florida. But I drew snow in Florida, which is kind of weird.
Yep.
Yeah. But I did ask, like, in advance, like, hey, are we doing Florida seasons or are we doing normal seasons from, like, north? And the response back was, I want a frost. And I was like, oh, okay, so normal seasons.
Right? Not Florida.
But it came out really good, and I liked it. The person also bought one of my comics too in person, but then then left it at the store that the event was at, and so luckily I was able to find it for them, and I shipped it off this morning.
Nice.
And then the other thing that I got first done. Yeah, I don't like. See, this is the thing. Everyone thinks that since I'm up north, I got snow, and I don't have snow.
We didn't get any snow in the front range.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still subsequent to getting. I mean, when we say you're going to get a lot of snow, that's relative to Denver, not relative to Winter Park.
Yeah.
Neither one of us are going to get
Winter Park, man. They get but Winter Park gets a lot of snow.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is like, yeah, when we say you're going to get a lot of snow, you're going to get a lot of snow relative to Denver. I mean, my wife used to live. Where did she live? She was the other side of Boulder. Other side of Boulder. No, like closer to Boulder. It's because she was going to college in Greeley, and her roommate at the time was going to college to CU Boulder. So they sort of picked a spot between the two. And
because I'm like right next door to Greeley.
I'll think about it really quickly here, and I can't think of it, but it's up in your neck of the woods is really what it boils down to. And they had a couple of those so much snow they couldn't get their car out sort of things when down here nothing was happening. So you see you're going to get a lot of snow. It's relative to Denver, not relative to
Well, I also have to remind myself that we are also lower altitude. So, like, when other people were getting, like when you were getting, like, the slushy stuff, we got rain.
Yeah.
So it took longer to hit the ground, so it turned into rain a lot sooner for us.
Yeah, it was slushy only for a little bit.
Yeah.
And for about an hour, and then it actually was fine. Because, like, right now, it's 5 degrees out there, Celsius. So that puts it at, like, 40, almost 40.
Yeah.
So... it's one of those things. I like keeping everything here in metric because now my son actually speaks fluent metric naturally without having to worry about it, which will make it easier when he goes overseas. Which I hope he does. I mean, even I went overseas, Doesn't have to be part of the military.
Brent, you should come back to Colorado.
We agree. I need to grab Raph's gun. That sounded really awesome.
What do you mean, Raph's gun?
Raph had a gun that he did. which,
I was about to say, I mean, I've seen his actual gun. That's cool.
yeah, he had a gun which was with one of his characters called the Gunslinger.
Gotcha.
So I needed to snag that. This was the line that I did, and they didn't want because this seemed more threatening. Which was fine, also fine. But we've got sort of this effect of found weapons going on here. So
yeah,
we're like she's dealing and trading weapons that were belong to other characters, which I think is cool. So and this was another character's weapon. There, so we'll add that. And that was, I think, all that they have asked for this. And I will check. The wind is blowing, which means that probably we're getting a Chinook through here. We might not be. Let's see what's going on. See, now you start talking about being up at 4, and now I can't stop thinking about being up at 4.
I said 4:30.
Yeah. Hand to the arm. Does not need to be in that spot, just on the arm, or it won't make covered by the graphics. Check the graphics, not covered by the graphics. Okay. I have attached coloring notes. Okay, make it seem like the arm is stolen. Flesh and blood hand. Printed circuit pattern. Up her neck and around her eye. Okay. Okay. That looks like that works. So I'll hold that. I think I've pulled everything I need to off of here. Are you able to share your screen? I haven't seen you do that yet.
I think so. Well,
you don't have to share your screen. I was just wondering whether you had set that up yet. For example, I have a camera over here on my desk, but it's not set up, so I can't switch to it. Hey, you shared your screen.
Mm-hmm. See?
There.
There you go.
Looking at cats.
No, I'm trying to come up with something, and it's I have this look, but like I'm trying to get a proper one.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this character that's a telepathic cat that seems to hang out with a neighborhood kid only, not even his actual owners. So like the chosen human is not even in the house. But when he's around the character, he walks on 2 legs.
Oh, so you're looking at kind of reference of how that works.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to find a good picture to just kind of emulate for anatomy purposes, because I've tried doing this before and it always looks weird. Not everyone can like get away with it, like the wonderful workings of Hayao Miyazaki and The Cat Returns.
Yeah, well, they worked hard on that, so there's that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they probably had to study a bunch of cats walking on 2 legs to get all of those cats. Like, you don't know how many cats they actually drew, because that was before CGI.
Yep.
and they had to hand draw all those cats. um, but no, it's basically just supposed to be a short, like little macabre type um, character stuff, and like basically the three characters are in the woods. I still don't know where I'm going with this,
Gotcha.
but yeah. But anyways, yeah, this is the same thing I was working on Wednesday. Yeah, but I can try to. Yeah, I can. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, I was just say I've already turned off the screen
Well,
share.
yeah.
I just wanted to know whether you could because I hadn't seen you do so yet.
I thought I'd done that before.
Well,
I thought you asked me to before.
well, yeah. I mean, like when you were in your old office,
Yeah, I'm not the new one. I
right?
understand.
We haven't tried that yet here, and I was just making sure we could.
Okay.
There we go. Straightening up some of these lines because they're kind of horsey.
Mm.
They also need to be able to go all the way to the end of the card because that's funnier. Well, it's also sort of part of the mandate.
The what?
Going all the way to the end of the card, it's a full bleed.
Yeah.
So there's always that. Wrong color. I have always had, since the beginning of time with this tablet, I've had this problem with it. Like it has interrupts in its operation, and I'm not sure why, but it's very irritating. Like I'll use the line tool and I'll drag, and then all of a sudden there'll be this instant interrupt and then reestablishment. So the line will all of a sudden put down and then start a new line, and it's like, it's so frustrating. It is something in the drivers somewhere, but I've updated everything and it is irritating. Anyway, it is fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
We've talked about the show Night Court before, right?
I love Night Court.
So what if I told you that they're rebooting it?
Yeah, I saw that.
I actually kind of want to watch it because of all the people that were on the original show, only one is coming back so far.
Is it Marky Post?
Marky Post passed away.
Oh, then no, it's not Marky Post.
No.
She was so young. Oh my God.
She was 70 when she passed away.
Oh my God.
And like I think the week before she passed away, the guy, the court recorder, not the typist, but the one that was the assistant to the judge. I think
he passed away too.
He passed away too the week before she did.
Yeah, and it was just like Judge, the guy who played the judge, who was so funny.
Dana Carvey.
No, it wasn't Dana Carvey.
No?
No.
Well, I know he passed away
John
a
Larroquette.
while ago. Like a while ago.
John Larroquette. Brent's saying John Larroquette's coming back.
Yeah, John Larroquette. Yeah, John Larroquette is the one that is coming back. I was surprised that they didn't announce like Bull coming on it because I know he's still alive
Mm-hmm.
and well, but he does like he did because last time I checked he didn't. When did he pass away?
Man, it's pretty rough on people to be on night court.
Because he was doing John Bull. Oh, 1990. No.
What?
No. No. It's Richard Mole.
Richard Mole. That's the guy that played Bull.
He's still alive.
Okay.
Yeah, he's still alive. He's been doing voice acting, which is yeah, he does voice acting a lot. Like a lot. He does a lot of the not Marvel, DC stuff with like because he did who was it? I'm trying to remember. He did he did like Justice League. He did. I'm trying to remember. I know he did Scooby Doo. That is for sure.
And the guy who played Jaws? Really? Those are the ones you get messed up with?
Well, no, I will agree. They do have very similar names, Brent. So that's why I was like, no. I was like, yeah, no. But yeah, he's still alive. I'm surprised he's not coming back for the reboot. I know he can't be like a bailiff anymore, but like that would be cool for him to come back.
See, there's what we need to come up with is Bailiff Watch.
Huh?
Have just Richard Mole running around on a beach.
Guy, you have way too much time on your hands.
I guess.
That
would have been awesome, though.
That is the worst dad joke I have ever heard in a while.
Okay, for all of you people who are watching the show, become a patron at my Patreon or I will pun again. There we go. Let's see if that works. I'm not afraid to pun.
He's serious, folks. He puns a lot during the show.
It's punishing.
See? Told you. Puns.
That's how I know that Troy's not watching my show, though, because otherwise there'd be a zillion puns already, because he can't stand it. Once somebody puns, he has to outpun them. It's a requirement. It'd be funny if they brought back Brent Spiner for just that one role that he played.
Oh yeah, the country bumpkin that got into the court. Yeah.
And have him
God,
like just
I
continue
forgot.
to play like that would be funny. That'd
So
be so funny.
Me and Bill were actually talking about that one day and thinking that Night Court could actually be a holodeck program.
It could.
because Kate McGrew is also on the show,
Yep.
and a couple of other people.
Cheers would be too.
Yeah, Roz is still alive, and she was my favorite female bailiff. The first two, I was going when me and Bill rewatched the series. The first two, like the first bailiff passed away suddenly in between seasons 1 and 2, and so they had to replace her. And then the second bailiff passed away, and there were always older women that were playing bailiffs. And so when they brought Roz in, me and Bill basically took it as they didn't want to take any chances
Right.
of having another actress pass away on them. So they hired Roz so that she wouldn't be like in a problem of passing away.
No threat.
Yeah, no threat.
Oh, used the wrong color. There you go. Problem is that the original sketch is on white paper. So I've got this set for multiply so that I can see what errors I'm making and mistakes. But I've got to remember that I don't hit the eraser. I have to go to white and white out things effectively.
Yeah.
I have to fix multiple little problems. Remarkably frustrating. It's okay. I will do so.
I need to still draw something for Earth Tau.
Yep. I am definitely hoping this is not the last Earth Tau one I work on. Hoping that all of my little insecurities didn't just set fire to the whole project. It'd be very sad.
Well, you've been working with them for a while, so I don't expect them to.
Yeah, we were sort of at the if you don't straighten up sort of level of communication, so I'm worried about it. I don't know if this needs to be like this. It needs to be more like, I think, this. Inward a little bit more. She's ending up with like some seriously 80s collars going on here, which makes some sense, I guess.
I mean, it is back in style.
Weirdly.
I mean, I don't know. I looked up some really interesting things because there's a company in Japan that makes like watercolor palettes.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, before when I say watercolor palettes, I mean these particular watercolor palettes are made similar to the Ganzai Tambi paints. So they're very it's a very Japanese style watercolor paint. So it's not gum arabic. It's usually fish cartilage or something else that makes it watercolor soluble.
Right.
But they have like this whole collection where it's a palette for the 80s, a palette for the 90s, a palette for the 50s, 60s, 70s.
Right.
I think you go as far back as the 20s, 1920s and these are color palettes that are based solely off of Japanese stylings from
Sure.
those time periods.
That's cool.
So, yeah. Gave this character, he's supposed to be like 12. I gave him like a serious back. Like, just had to correct that. Yeah. How many 12-year-olds do you know have a jacked up muscle back?
Right? Jacked up muscle back.
I mean, you can, at 12 years old, if you're a 12-year-old boy, yeah, you could have some upper muscle defined space just in case. Like,
Right.
especially if you're active. It's not overtly.
Not my kiddo. My kiddo is a little scrawny guy. He's cool, but he's scrawny. Which is okay. Maybe he doesn't need to be not scrawny, Sometimes, or maybe he needs more. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's not an issue. Not judgment.
Nah. This particular character is supposed to not be scrawny. He's somewhere in between scrawny and not so scrawny. This character is supposed to be.
Okay. I'm getting to the end of this. We will call this good.
So, speaking of Disney stuff, I don't know if you I don't know if you heard about this or not. So their Disney Plus is coming out. I don't know if it's a series or a movie called Home Sweet Home Alone or something like that.
That sounds horrible already.
So it's a direct. It is based off of the series, based off of the Kevin McAllister part of this series. So Macaulay Culkin,
Right.
his character. His older brother, the guy that played Buzz, is in the new one as a police officer.
Okay, that's interesting.
I don't know how I feel about that at all.
There we go.
It's time to take a quick break.
Just in time for break time. All right. I'll stand up, stick my hands in the fan. It's important.
In the fan? Jeez, what are you doing over there, man?
Hey, it's my OnlyFans.
Your OnlyFans, huh?
Yep.
Does your wife know that you have an OnlyFan?
If it brings in money, she doesn't care. Here is that. Flight of the Navigator, yeah. Oh, Bryce Dallas Howard, though. I love her. So, I mean, she is a good director. Which is interesting because she's totally taking after her dad.
Well, I think if they're going to do Flight of the Navigator, they really do need to bring back the original kid for that one.
They might.
And I'm hoping he's not in jail still.
Well, then they probably won't.
Well, I like I said, I hope he's not in jail. That is.
I'm just saying, if he was ever in jail. I hate to say that Disney probably will leave him the hell alone, but Disney's going to probably leave him the hell alone.
Well, I know that after the movie, like, he only starred in a few things, and then once no one wanted to, basically, once he stopped being a kid, it's kind of like the normal thing that you hear.
Yep.
No one wanted to cast him. And so as an adult, I think. So okay, so the original kid is the father of the kid who's going to be taken away this time.
Or is that just your? I hope that's the case.
Well, you know what? I'm going to look it up. I'm going to see. Remake. I mean, because Bryce Dallas Howard, yeah, I've seen her do stuff before, directing wise. She's a better director than her father.
That's a statement.
Well, I mean, let's be realistic. She knows a little bit more about the more modern stuff that can be done. So I think in that respect, yes.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that's a statement.
Yeah.
I'm not even really sure I agree or disagree. I don't have an opinion on that one. Because I feel like, well, I mean, part of the problem, of course, is that Ron Howard has one of my absolute favorite movies ever. So, because Apollo 13 is definitely one of my absolute favorites. So, take a look a little bit longer on this and see what I'm dealing with. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to leave it alone.
I'm just going to
leave it right where I found it.
That's a Dreamcast.
Yep. So I got cool spaceships over the yesterday. My Eagle Moss order came in.
Gotcha.
So now I have 3 new ships, the ones that I actually really like. They were all on sale. So they were doing this sale for the for a lot of the older but still good ships, because I think they're trying to kind of flush their inventory a little. So I ended up with 3 ships that I really adore, including one that I saw last night on Lower Decks, which I thought was really cool of them. So Lower Decks was a good episode last night.
That would be. I'm just. Yeah. It's my email. Sorry.
Is it from a female?
No.
It's such a Strong bad joke.
So Joey Kramer is still around. That's the guy that played the 12-year-old boy. Paul Rubens played Max, so he's still there. So David's mom is still around. So Veronica Cartwright,
Mm-hmm.
whom I have to say I like her more in the what's that movie with Cher, Susan Sarandon, Cher, and what's her name? They basically get in contact with Jack Nicholson. They're witches,
Right.
but Veronica
Moonstruck.
huh?
Moonstruck?
No. This is one where basically Jack Nicholson plays the devil and he gives powers to Susan Sarandon, Cher, and she played Catwoman. It's an 80s movie.
Isn't that Death Becomes Her?
Yeah, Witches of Eastwick.
Witches of Eastwick. Okay.
Yes. Veronica Cartwright played the friend at the beginning that was claiming that the guy that they were all seeing was the devil, and they inadvertently make her like start vomiting up cherry pits. But the original cast like literally had Sarah Jessica Parker.
Right.
They had some pretty they had some people who were not really well known at the time, and they became more well known later.
Right.
For the remake, they haven't released the full. The only person that they've confirmed so far is Veronica Cartwright as Helen Freeman. That's the only person I'm seeing that they've confirmed. Okay, well,
That's funny. Somebody keeps arguing with me on Reddit, and I'm like, really don't have a leg to stand on.
what are they arguing with you about?
Vaccine mandates. So they're trying to make all kinds of weird arguments, and I'm like, you just don't have a leg to stand on, so it doesn't really matter. The Supreme Court ruled that the U.S. government can mandate vaccines way back in 1905. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't even bother fighting. Because as soon as anybody challenges to the Supreme Court, they have to withhold and uphold the previous vaccine mandate, which was in 1905 for smallpox. So, and I read the ruling, and if you read the ruling, Justice Harlan, specifically hits all the points that I've heard everybody say. Like, he says, defendant brings in a bunch of evidence that the vaccine is harmful. That's irrelevant. The majority of the medical community thinks that it's not harmful. Therefore, it has no standing. Defendant brings in medical doctors who say that the vaccine is harmful. Also irrelevant, because we choose to go with the majority, and the majority of the medical community thinks that it's not harmful. You know what I mean? Like, every argument I have heard the Supreme Court justice literally went point to point on all of it. And, you know, and that's the arguments they're having here is like, but the states. And I'm like, he also addresses that by saying in a ruling in 1890, the Supreme Court had ruled that in times of emergency, the national security can override states. And so he even quotes that in this one, where he says, we can mandate smallpox vaccine to you by the national or the national by national threat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like so I'm like sitting there going, there's nothing you can do. It doesn't matter what you think. I mean, because it's irrelevant. Because there's no way to legally fight it. You can't fight it legally.
I think though that I think what it is America has been like dubbed as where you go to be able to do what you want to do in life, not like, how should I put it this way? If you come from another country, like one of the people that I knew that came over from Germany to the United States,
Mm-hmm.
Germany does not allow you to do homeschooling.
Right.
And the United States allows you to homeschool.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when they came over to the United States, they homeschooled their child.
Mm-hmm.
But when they tried to go back, they could not homeschool their children at that point. And so they ended up moving back to the States.
Right.
See, so America has the choice of how you can educate your child. There you go. That's a freedom of choice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, freedom of choice used to be, if you don't want to vaccinate yourself or your children, you had that as an option. Making a mandate makes people go, okay, well, that impedes my freedom of choice. So therefore, I'm going to get angry with it because I should always have that freedom of choice.
Right.
And that's where the problem that a lot of people have is rooted, is that impediment in their viewing of impeding freedom of choice, which is fine. You know, if you're going to have a problem with it, voice your opinion. You're allowed to do so.
Sure. Say what you need to say.
Say what you need to say.
There's no reason to go get guns and start shooting at the government.
Right. But at the same time,
well, and that's
it is a freedom of choice. And you can still, like, yes, it's mandated, but you can still not do it. It's not like under penalty of fine or threatening of jail that they're saying that the mandate occurs.
See this smile? Do you know what that smile means? That's exactly what Massachusetts was doing that Jacobson was fighting in the Supreme Court. They had him as a $5 fine, which in 1905 was a lot of frickin' money, apparently.
Yeah.
Or it was a $5 fine and imprisonment if you didn't take the smallpox vaccine.
But we no longer have those fines in most states. That's what I'm trying to say.
But the point that I'm kind of getting at is the Supreme Court upheld that. So if the government decides to put fines in and put you in jail, the Supreme Court still said that was legal and constitutional.
Right.
So, I mean, no, we don't have it now, but if it ever comes around, all these people who are sitting there, you know, up in arms, they don't have a leg to stand on. That's all I was saying was, you don't have a leg to stand on. The Supreme Court already figured this out.
I'm just making my statement of this boils down to this part of the argument, which a lot of people are not really recognizing.
Yeah.
Is what your problem truly is you feel like you have a lack of choice.
Yeah.
In the matter, which is, you know, if someone were to come up to me and say, oh, you don't have a choice, you have to take the vaccine that has been proven that you're allergic to, I'll sit there and go, no, because I do have an allergy to the old flu vaccine that was made with eggs.
Sure.
I can't do that one. but they've already made a vaccine that doesn't have that process, which now I have to get.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and I do think that that was one of the things that was specifically said in the ruling, which was because that was one of the other things that the justice had said, even because one of the arguments that Jacobson had put up was that some people were dying of the smallpox vaccine.
Yeah.
And the statement that Harlan had said was, there comes a time in every government where you have to do effectively what they said was the needs of the many. And it's true and absolutely accurate. But what he said was, even if there's a small chance of death, there's a larger chance of death from smallpox. So we choose the lesser of two deaths and stuff like that. But there are obviously exemptions. Nobody's going to give you a 100% chance of death, to prevent the culture. I mean, it's like, if
Yeah.
we know that giving you the vaccine's just going to kill you right here, right now, right, that makes sense. We don't give you the vaccine. But if the vaccine has a 0.000001% chance of death, take the shot. And that's actually one of the things that we talked about, my wife and I had talked about with my kid, getting him vaccinated, because of course there is a small chance of any kid dying of the MMR vaccine and yada yada yada. There's a
Well,
very small chance of it.
my sister, who works in the medical field, for her kids, instead of doing MMR, she just did the individual vaccinations.
Yeah.
And it's not wrong. You
No.
can still do the individual vaccinations instead of having a combo vaccination done.
Oh yeah. And that still accomplishes the goal that everybody's after. So I got no problem with that.
Yeah.
That seems to be what my stepmom's problem was that you shouldn't give 7 zillion vaccinations to a child right off the bat. Okay, if your complaint is that, that's totally fine. So long as we're getting vaccinated, I'm good, It's
I
fine.
mean, it's part of our adoption process.
Sure.
They've literally told us outright, like, for the first 6 months of your child's life, we expect you to do this. This is what you have to follow. If you don't, you have your child taken away.
Uh-huh.
And one of them was because both me and Bill had talked about, when we had children, we didn't necessarily want to do 100% all vaccines. But they have a list of vaccines that we have to actually have done in the first 6 months.
Okay.
So, like, there's that, so we just have to, but like our old doctor's office had doctors in there that basically, at the beginning of the COVID vaccine, one of them in particular said that she was not going to do the vaccination because she did not trust it. In her medical opinion, basically stated to us that it hasn't been tested for her to feel comfortable recommending it for herself. Again, that boils down to personal choice again.
Well, as long as you accomplish the goal, the state doesn't care.
Yeah.
Pretty much what I was reading out of the ruling. The ruling wasn't you must take, X vaccine. The ruling was you must be vaccinated against smallpox. However you accomplish that is up to you.
I mean, if you got smallpox and survived, you did get immunity to it.
Yeah. And I don't know, I don't know what they didn't say anything about immunity in the ruling, whether you've had it or not.
Yeah.
The difference is that I think smallpox is a lot more fatal back then.
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot of people who survived smallpox. That
And if
wasn't.
you did, you were naturally immune to it.
Yeah. So I'm sure that was a, well, in those edge cases, you're right, So I'm sure that was a thing.
Well, it's kind of like the chickenpox vaccine. Everyone in my family that has gotten chickenpox never went to the hospital, as far as I'm aware of. Did they get bad cases? Yeah, there was a few bad cases in my family. Like, I had a cousin that got a chickenpox on their eyeball
You.
and couldn't shut their eye all the way because of it.
That's brutal.
So they had to do eye drops.
Mm.
But again, that's a very specific style of case.
Right.
And yes, I am aware that people die from chickenpox, folks. Yes, I am aware of it. There's usually other complications within the person's body, though, that causes it. Just like right now, my sister who's in the COVID ward, she sits there and says that majority of the people who pass away from COVID right now that are going through the treatment in the hospital that do pass away are overweight, they have other health complications, and they never took they didn't take the vaccination.
Sure.
So.
I think that other complications and overweight, though, is an unfair. It's almost like saying, well, you chose to have a bad lifestyle, so it's okay that COVID killed you.
Well, no. Well, I wasn't saying that. What I was saying is this is what
I get a lot of pushback from a friend of mine in Australia who's having these problems with, but why should I get vaccinated? I'm healthy, I'm thin, I'm, and I'm like,
first, if you're healthy and thin and whatever, and you say you're healthy and thin and you're fit and you exercise on a regular basis, you don't smoke, you don't drink, you don't do anything, you're very vanilla. Of course, you're going to survive it because you're so super boring that's what you're going to survive.
The COVID's going to be like, dude, I don't even want to mess with you.
Exactly. All right. But long-term effects of having COVID, some people that I know have not gotten their sense of smell back. They have not gotten their sense of taste back. They have not, these are side effects of the COVID virus. If they're permanently taking away someone's taste buds, then everything tastes the same to them.
That's part of the problem is that it's, it's not, you don't die, but then, I've got a friend who got COVID and she still has brain fog and has a hard time. She's fallen down the stairs a couple of times just because she doesn't quite have all of her brain faculties back. And it's been 9 months since she got COVID and she's still suffering from all the effects of it and she can't work. And and that's, I see, this is one of my close friends whom I see every week.
Yeah.
So, it's not talking about the people who are out in the periphery. I've got somebody who's close to me who's suffering from all these things. Yeah. That sucks. So, anyway, I don't know how I got onto COVID. That wasn't actually my intention. All I was really saying was reading the ruling from 1905.
Yeah, we were talking about, you brought up vaccinations, and I got on a soapbox.
Yeah, and really, honestly, I was just reading that, and the wording is really, really watertight. And it's amazing how watertight it is. And it's also amazing how people in 1905 were bringing up the same crap that everybody brings up today about the COVID vaccine. Like all of the same stuff, like the vaccine is untried and it's an experiment and it's full of chemicals that nobody knows anything about. And I'm like, all the same exact arguments that I heard about COVID vaccines. It's actually somewhat reassuring though, because that means that there's probably not a lot to worry about. Oh, you missed all kinds of crap, Brent. We got on a COVID tear, so it's probably better that you missed it.
my whole thing with this is the fact of it's personal choice to take the vaccine or not for me. If you've taken it, great. If you haven't, fine. If you come into my house and you need to tell me that you haven't been vaccinated and you feel like you've been safe and you don't have COVID, great. But if you give me COVID, I will kill you.
So it becomes one of those, it's your personal choice to not be vaccinated, but if you give me COVID, it's my personal choice to kill your butt.
Yeah, exactly. That's, you should know. You should be aware of your
body. Cognizant of what could go down here.
Your well-being. Like, don't come over to my house if you feel nauseous, sick, blah 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 blah. And this is the main reason why I don't like going over to having people over at my house very often, unless I know they're okay.
Yeah. This is why you never invite me over, because I'm never okay.
Well, no, I will invite you over, sir. I will invite you over. I'm just not ready to receive guests right now at my house. Hopefully after this weekend, I can actually probably have people come over to my house.
Totally fine. No, and that's what I was saying. It was so funny about this particular argument. There's a lot of argument about that. And I'm like, you know what? It's all right, but law says they can force you.
You know what I'm waiting for, Guy? You know what I'm waiting for?
What?
I'm waiting for someone to finally get the SG-1, the Stargate SG-1 episode meme of where they go through time to send coordinates back to the team to stop them from actually having like a favorable relationship with that one species, which basically sterilized the Earth down to like 20% of the Earthlings were only able and capable of having children.
Yep.
And it was
good.
And one of the characters married a man that basically stated, "How's that possible? That's not possible. They said that they were only going to be sterilizing 20%." So, and this was all based off of a vaccine that they gave them. I'm waiting for that meme to pop up in my feed. But no one has so far, so I'm like, I think that's an extremist one.
It probably is.
But
anyway, so there you go.
Walking on two legs as a cat. Where would you go? Would you want cheese?
There's a show called A Whisker Away, and it was a movie, and I watched it, and it was really cool, and I liked it. It was very nifty, and it was very sweet.
Is that the one where the girl turns into a cat?
Well, yeah, and then she wears the mask of a cat, and that turns her into a cat, and then at some point in time she loses the mask of her face, so she can't turn back into a human.
Gotcha. Okay. So how did it work out? Did it all work out for the better for her?
Oh no, they all died.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding.
All right.
No, it all worked out, but it was a cute little movie. My wife and I were talking about how Japanese tend to always be stuck. The Japanese shows tend to be stuck in junior high or high school. And I said, well, it's because that's when the biggest changes happen in our lives. That's like the biggest sea change of our entire world. We do the same thing here. It's why Disney Channel for forever had a zillion shows like, Hannah Montana and stuff like that.
Well, but
Just-
also Disney Channel though was geared towards family and kids.
We haven't. The point being, the entire channel is devoted towards that era of our lives.
Yeah, I mean
Movies like
Nickelodeon.
Stand By Me and things like that.
Yeah, like Nickelodeon is the same way. Cartoon Network for the
Yep.
mentally 12-year-old in you, you watch that show.
Right.
Now they do have other programming, like you have Adult Swim on Cartoon Network
Oh yeah.
and stuff like that. But
Obviously, there's other things in anime too, but we were just talking about how there's so much of a culture around school and school age kids in anime. And I was just saying I think that's the nature of that one period where everything changed in our world.
it's also like not just that. Like I honestly think that the reason why we continuously go back to that part of our lives is that's where we start building and forming what people are like overall.
Yeah,
So
I agree. Like we can tell that we're going to be X kind of people. Wonder how much cable I can make here. How far can I go? How far can we go?
you put the lime in the coconut.
Yeah, that happens a lot in my world. And a
Put
lot.
the lime in the coconut and drink it all up.
Yep. Somebody made a Coke commercial out of that at one point.
I didn't know you did Coke.
I did Coke for a while, but I got over it. I might actually be able to get somewhere with this. That's kind of cool. So I'm trying to I've got an extender, USB extender.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to see if I can't get enough of a USB extension to connect my other camera. Back here, which I might be able to do. That'd be kind of cool. Because I could then work over here at this desk. Right. Got that connected. That's kind of cool. Be intrigued if I can pull this off. It's not this is a long-ish cable, but it's not that long. Have to see whether it makes it all the way down there or not. So I'm right now seeing how far this connector cable can go. All right. Oh, short by and about 6 inches.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Wonder if I can stretch this out just a little bit. Maybe. I'm short by 3 inches. Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah, well, there's that. USB loses signal over 3 meters. Yeah, I actually was thinking about a USB repeater.
Do we need a messages from Bill
No, we don't.
to help you?
I don't think there's anything we can do to help me. It may be a lost cause. Because I think Brent is absolutely spot on. What I think I need is a USB repeater put out here somewhere, because it's a long way over there. It is a long way over there. So that's okay. We'll get there. Yeah, that seems like that's just fraught with peril, though.
Messages from Bill.
What's that?
Well, we were talking about USB, and so
Yeah.
I have to get to this camera here, and I already have a long cable to that camera, and it's just it's on the lamp. So
Yeah.
the computer is here, and it's there. And so I was talking about a USB repeater, and right now I've run a line up and through and over and down, and it can't quite plug into my computer. And Brent was saying that USB tends to lose coherency after about 3 meters.
There's max lengths to the USB spec. You can get more quality USBs that use better copper wiring instead of aluminum or whatever
Right.
the alternative is. That can help extend beyond the spec, but the camera is going to kind of change the real distance that is from there to there, and plus the distance to go down and along the wall, and then to turn here and go back up and all that. You might look at an active USB cable, which is kind of one that it takes power to boost the signal for a longer run. And they also make repeaters, like you said. But I would probably look for an active one that's an uninterrupted run of wire, because any gap where you have to make connections, there's usually more of a signal loss than if it's just a boosted single uninterrupted run of wire. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That was what I was thinking.
Mhm.
So, yep. Yeah, I think it's funny that you were summoned. But yeah, I appreciate that. Because I think that's what we're gonna have to do.
Mhm.
Well, I summoned him because I'm not much help in this situation.
Yeah, I understand. It's all good, man. You did fine.
Or if you have a old computer you can connect it to, and then pass the video signal over Ethernet. But it seems kind of a short run to go through that expense.
Yeah, that's. Although I do have my Surface over here.
Mm-hmm. There is such thing as USB over Ethernet, I think.
Yeah.
Possibly.
But you are missed, as you can. I don't know if you can see this, but you are definitely missed. Brent's doing the I missed messages from Bill.
But I have my headphones on out there too, plus the door now. So
it's actually totally cool. We were actually just saying we don't want to stop the messages from Bill, so we want to make sure that you at least feel welcome to drop in at any time.
All right.
And not feel like you are disrupting the show or anything like that.
See, this is what happens though. Like, we can say this, but then all of a sudden he can just come in and take over the show.
Well, we are sort of running out of steam here. I finished my picture that I was working on. We've already talked about what we were doing next week. We've complained about vaccines, and I mean, we've run out of things.
Mm-hmm.
We've petered out of things here.
Here, I drew this.
Right? You drew a thing.
I drew a thing. All right. Well, we can also end the show early if you want.
That's also true, because now we're at the point of me trying to set up a external floppy or external CD-ROM drive.
Yep.
What I'm doing now, because I have a bunch of CDs that now need to be transferred, and it's like, well, that's great, except I don't have a CD-ROM drive in my computer anymore.
Are you converting everything into like digital MP3 for your phone or other stuff?
No, it's my stepmom does testing for kids, and she needs me to run the software. But you have to install the software off of a CD because her software is from like 1910 or something ridiculous. Not really. It's really from like 2005 or 2006 is where her software is from. But either way, it's one of those we have to do the install from a CD-ROM. But while we were at it, I've got a bunch of stuff from NDK from the convention from like that same era, 1905, 1910, 2005 or 2007 or something like that. But they're all on CD. And I'm like, you know what? I can just convert all those, copy all that stuff off. It's videos and pictures and stuff like that from those early conventions. And so I'll just copy them over and then put them on. Now we have a cloud drive for all of our convention stuff. So
nice.
I'll just move them up to the cloud drive, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I don't have to worry about losing those CDs, which is also an issue.
For the application CDs, I like to usually make an ISO of them. So I have a digital, basically a digital version of the disc that I can mount in the system and load it up whenever I want. That way, if the CD gets scratched up or whatever, you don't care anymore.
Yeah, we actually need backups. I only need to do a couple of these tests every so often for her because she doesn't do them very often. She uses them for diagnostics. So, I mean, she can't even use them for official. You can't like take them in and get an ADD diagnosis off of them or anything like that. She only uses it for diagnostics, but she needs them for the diagnostics. So we have work to do. So it's all cool. But that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But Pepper's right. We could break 15 minutes early today and stuff like that if we wanted. It was good talking to you, though.
Yeah, when are you going to start your visits? Aren't you supposed to drop by once a week?
November 6th.
Yeah,
He's saying that his first visit will be.
Okay.
Because that's the first meeting of the Fort Collins Club. It is always on the first Saturday of the month. So I will go to Fort Collins for the Fort Collins Club and then come back and hang with you guys for lunch.
All right, sounds good.
Yep. We can even find like some cool place in Loveland to go get lunch. So that's your
cool place, Bill. What cool place would you like to take him?
We're slowly discovering new places. So
that's
we've been meeting at downtown a lot, trying to learn the places.
There's an Irish pub downtown that we went to, which that was good food. There is another place that we walked in, and the first thing out of her mouth was, "Do you have a reservation?" And that turned out to be a pizza place of all things. Basically,
I was like, do we need one?
Coal fire. It's like a coal fire pizza place that also has like wood fire. Sorry.
A coal fire would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? But it's on the pricier side.
Everything down there is on the pricier side. So.
And then I mean, if you want to go to a nice place, it's affordable. We need to find that place for us.
Right.
There is a burger joint, but the burger joint, I can't really eat anything there.
Fair.
Because they don't have they fry everything in the same fryers, and like they don't have any type of thing for like allergens for towards seafood and stuff like that at all. So
It's cool.
yay! But there's also Pinocchio's.
That's also pricey.
True. But
Yeah.
you can split a pizza there versus not being able to split a pizza at the other place, which is also
Yeah,
true.
you got time. We got a couple of weeks. Right?
Oh, there is an actual pizza place though that we can go and that's
Mhm.
actually affordable because they
Yeah.
sell by the slice, New York style pizza.
Ah, cardboard. Gotcha. I'm just kidding.
Well, it's sourdough actually.
All of the it's in all of the fights between New York style and Chicago style pizza. I just enjoy the fight more than I actually.
No, what I'm saying is it's tangy cardboard.
Yes,
Tangy.
sourdough cardboard. Yeah, it's just I enjoy the fight more than I really have an opinion. It's always something that's fun. So
It's a transformer.
Yeah.
well, okay. Well, then we can go on ahead and bow out.
Does that mean that we have to stand up real quick? All right.
Okay, I will see you guys then next week, and I will see everybody else on Monday, and everybody should have a good weekend. Have a good weekend. We're going to clean the house, which means it may not necessarily be a good weekend, but that's all right.
We have to clean our house too.
Well, we still have
There
to
you go.
unpack our house.
We have things to assemble still.
That works.
Just have to
Yeah.
put up a thing.
So thanks for joining us, Brent, and thanks for joining us, Bill. And I will see everybody later as usual. Keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye. Computer, good night.